Here are the tallest giants in history. Sultan Kürşün. Born on December 10, 1982 in Turkey, Sultan has held the record for the world's tallest living man since 2009, with an astonishing height of 2.51 meters. Born in a small Turkish village, he attracted attention from a very young age. At the age of 10, he was already over 1.80 meters tall, and by 18, he was over 2 meters. However, this extraordinary growth actually conceals a serious illness. Like other giants before him, Sultan is the victim of a benign tumor affecting his pituitary gland, causing excessive production of growth hormones, resulting in his bones and tissues growing without limit. His hands are 28.5 centimeters long, and his feet 36.5 centimeters, with a shoe size of 62. These extraordinary proportions inducted him twice in the Guinness Book of Records. However, this unstoppable growth is putting his life in danger. For years, Sultan continued to grow endlessly until 2010, when he received revolutionary treatment from the University of Virginia, which finally stopped his growth. But the fight was far from over. His bones were weakened and he had to walk with a cane all the time. He is now also on hormone treatment that he must take for the rest of his life to stabilize his growth, not to mention the daily expenses associated with his size. His custom-made clothes and the specific layout of his home represent additional daily costs. However, the media attention he has received since 2009 has transformed his life. This simple Kurdish farmer has become Turkey's cultural ambassador, representing his country throughout the world. John Rogan. Born in 1867 in Hendersonville, Tennessee, John grew up normally until the age of 13, at which point everything changed. John began experiencing intense pain in his joints, forcing him to stay in bed for nearly 2 years. He saw his hands and feet grow considerably larger and realized he was suffering from a form of acromegaly, a disease that causes abnormal growth of the limbs and face. His growth stabilized around the age of 16, but John was already 2.37 meters tall and continued to suffer from his illness. He lost the use of his legs due to severe ankylosis of the knees and hips, which made his joints rigid and immobile. Hence, he was inevitably confined to a wheelchair. However, he was brave and refused to be dependent on others, designing a cart pulled by goats to get around. Too frail to work in the fields with his family, he found another way to earn a living and became a porter at Gallatin Station. Despite his impressive height, John attracted the attention of fairground operators who saw him as a potential attraction, but he categorically refused. He made only one exception in 1897, during a brief stint at the Tennessee Centennial Exposition near his home, before dying at the age of 38. Even after his death, his size attracted envy. Fearing that his body would be stolen and studied, his family took a radical decision. He was buried in a concrete coffin to prevent any attempt at desecration. Robert Wadlow. Nicknamed the Giant of Alton in reference to his hometown in Illinois, John remains to this day the tallest man ever measured in history, at 2.72 meters. Born on February 22, 1918, he grew up in a completely normal family of 5 children who had no growth problems. However, his parents soon saw something wrong with Robert. He grew at lightning speed. At 6 months, he was already 88 centimeters tall and weighed 13 kilograms. At 8, he's over 1.80 meters tall and wore adult clothes. By 12, he was taller than his own father. The cause of this extraordinary growth was a benign tumor that caused an overproduction of growth hormones, leading to continuous and excessive growth of his limbs. At the age of 22, he reached 2.72 meters, a record never surpassed in human history. Despite his impressive height, Robert tried to lead a normal life, but his daily life was far from ordinary. He wore size 75 shoes and had trouble finding suitable footwear. Moreover, the International Shoe Company offered to make him custom-made shoes in exchange for a promotional tour across the United States. But it was when he joined the Ringling Brothers Circus that he became a true celebrity. Unfortunately, behind this fame, Robert suffered in silence. His huge body became a real burden. His nervous system and his joints were extremely fragile, and every everyday movement required considerable effort. In 1940, a simple, ill-fitting orthopedic device caused him to develop a serious infection, and his weakened body couldn't fight it. Robert Wadlow died at the age of just 22. His funeral was attended by 40,000 people who came to pay tribute to the world's tallest man.